Hey sports card fans, it's John, Wade Boggs fan. Hope you're all doing well. Featuring a new layout and some noteworthy rookie card options, 1955 Topps Baseball has aged well. In addition to a good amount of Hall of Fame subjects, the 55 Topps set is the place to find key rookie cards for Roberto Clemente, Sandy Kofax, and Harmon Brew. The 1955 Topps Baseball release consists of 206 cards, making it the second smallest Topps Baseball card set ever produced behind 1951 Topps. Measuring in at 3 3/4 by 2 5/8 inches, 1955 Topps was the first horizontally oriented design to be released by the card maker. The change was well received by collectors, as it was apparent that the orientation allowed for bigger player photos and the uncluttered inclusion of other key details. 1955 Topps baseball cards feature both a player profile photo and an action shot of each player on the card's front. The dual image, first used the previous year, proved to be so popular that Topps went a step further by colorizing the action photo as compared to the black and white version it utilized in 1954. Also taking up real estate on the card front is the team logo, facsimile signature, and a colored bar across the bottom, which highlights the player's name, position, and team. The card's reverse provides detailed biographical and statistical information about the player. One-panel cartoons returned in 1955, this time in the form of a trivia question related to the team or player. Finally, each card back includes a short paragraph regarding the player's contribution to the team in the previous season. What 1955 Topps Baseball lacks in overall checklist size, it makes up for in quality. The main attractions, of course, include the rookie cards for Hall of Fame legends Sandy Kofax, Roberto Clemente, and Harmon Brew. As was the case with the 1954 Topps set, Bowman's exclusive contracts with Mickey Mantle and Roy Campanella prevented their appearance in the 55 release as well. Fortunately, there are still plenty of big names in 1955 Topps Baseball, including Hank Garon, Duke Snider, Yogi Berra, Willie Mae, Ted Williams, Jackie Robinson, and Eddie Matthews. It is important to note that 4 cards originally intended for inclusion were ultimately left out. The players later were revealed to be Stan Musial, Whitey Ford, Bob Feller, and Herb Score. This explains why there are gaps in the 210 card set, and as a result, 4 cards were double printed. When it comes to scarcity, the 1955 Topps Baseball high numbers 161 to 210, are by far the most challenging to find in high grade. Many vintage and set registry collectors say that of all the 1950s Topps releases, these cards are the most difficult to find in near mint to mint condition. It should also be noted that cards 151 to 160 are considered also to be scarce, making cards for Willie Mae, Yogi Berra, and Duke Snider generally more scarce than those of Ted Williams, Jackie Robinson, or Hank Garon. In this video, I'm going to show off the top 10 most valuable cards from the 1955 Topps set based on their PSA 5 values. I'll also give the values of those cards in higher grades, as well as the population count of those grades. Now, before I get to the top 10, here are the cards that just missed the top 10. At number 15, the Eddie Matthews card. At number 14, the Warren Spahn card. At number 13, the Phil Rizzuto card. At number 12, the Gil Hodges card. And at number 11, the Al Kaline card. So, which cards made the top 10 list? Let's go find out. Coming in at number 10, we have the Duke Snider. In a PSA 5, there have been 403 graded copies with a current VCP average price of $271. There have been 315 graded a PSA 6. They sell for around $445. There have been 196 graded a PSA 7. They sell for around $1,071. There have been 74 graded a PSA 8. They sell for around $4,598. There have been 2 graded a PSA 9, but there have been no reported sales of either of those PSA 9s in VCP's database, so who knows what one of those PSA 9 Duke Sniders would sell for today, and there has not been a PSA 10 graded copy of the Duke Snider card. At number 9, the Ernie Banks. In a PSA 5, there have been 755 graded copies with a current VCP average price of $273. There have been 647 graded a PSA 6. They sell for around $382. There have been 402 graded a PSA 7. They sell for around $820. There have been 175 graded a PSA 8. They sell for around $2,559. There have been 18 graded a PSA 9. The last PSA 9 sale took place this month through Memory Lane and sold for $12,860. And there has not been a PSA 10 graded copy of the Ernie Banks. At number 8, we have the Yogi Berra. In a PSA 5, there have been 427 graded copies with a current VCP average price of $282. There have been 377 graded a PSA 6. They sell for around $415. There have been 222 graded a PSA 7. They sell for around $894. There have been 96 graded a PSA 8. They sell for around $4,140. There have only been 12 graded a PSA 9. The last PSA 9 sale took place last month through Memory Lane and sold for $16,568. And again, there has not been a PSA 10 graded copy of the Yogi Berra card. At number 7, we have the Harmon Killer Brew rookie card. In a PSA 5, there have been 1,249 graded copies with a current VCP average price of $337. There have been 1,047 graded a PSA 6. They sell for around $484. There have been 698 graded a PSA 7. They sell for around $978. There have been 260 graded a PSA 8. They sell for around $3,024. There have been 20 graded a PSA 9. They sell for around $27,300. There has been one graded a PSA 10, and the only reported PSA 10 sale took place in May of 2012 through SCP auctions and sold for $59,135, placing the Harmon Killer Brew actually at the number 2 spot in terms of PSA 10 values on this top 10 list, mainly because of the lack of PSA 10 copies of some of these 1955 Topps cards. At number 6, we have the Ted Williams. In a PSA 5, there have been 858 graded copies with a current VCP average price of $621. There have been 587 graded a PSA 6. They sell for around $1,005. There have been 357 graded a PSA 7. They sell for around $1,610. There have been 120 graded a PSA 8. They sell for around $8,317. There have only been 11 graded a PSA 9. The last PSA 9 sale took place this month through Memory Lane and sold for $52,182, placing the Ted Williams at the number 4 spot in terms of PSA 9 values on this top 10 list. And like some of the others, there has not been a PSA 10 graded copy of the Ted Williams card. At number 5, we have the Hank Aaron card. In a PSA 5, there have been 1,082 graded copies with a current VCP average price of $783. There have been 939 graded a PSA 6. They sell for around $1,069. There have been 552 graded a PSA 7. They sell for around $2,235. There have been 280 graded a PSA 8. They sell for around $5,801. There have been 28 graded a PSA 9. They sell for around $45,720. And again, there has not been a PSA 10 graded copy of the Hank Aaron card. At number 4, the Jackie Robinson card. In a PSA 5, there have been 953 graded copies with a current VCP average price of $797. There have been 855 graded at PSA 6. They sell for around $1,283. There have been 454 graded at PSA 7. They sell for around $2,636. There have been 210 graded at PSA 8. They sell for around $7,652. There have been 24 graded at PSA 9. The last PSA 9 sale took place this month, or actually February of 2023, through Heritage Auction and sold for $90,000, placing the Jackie Robinson at the number 3 spot in terms of PSA 9 values on this list. And there has been one graded a PSA 10. The only PSA 10 recorded in VCP's database took place in April of 2007 through Memory Lane and sold for $44,318, also placing the Jackie Robinson at the number 3 spot on this top 10 list for PSA 10 graded copies. At number 3, we have the Willie Mays. In a PSA 5, there have been 541 graded copies with a current VCP average price of $1,015. There have been 493 graded at PSA 6. They sell for around $1,843. There have been 243 graded at PSA 7. They sell for around $3,106. There have been 135 graded at PSA 8. They sell for around $8,473. There have only been 13 graded at PSA 9. The last PSA 9 took place this month through Memory Lane and sold for $52,102, placing the Willie Mays actually at the number 5 spot in terms of PSA 9 values on this list. And again, there has not been a PSA 10 graded copy of the Willie Mays card. All right, down to the last 2. At number 2, we have the Sandy Kofax rookie card. In a PSA 5, there have been 1,684 graded copies with a current VCP average price of $1,691. There have been 1,428 graded at PSA 6. They sell for around $2,861. There have been 902 graded at PSA 7. They sell for around $5,522. There have been 242 graded at PSA 8. They sell for around $25,087. There have been 25 graded at PSA 9, and they sell on average for $324,000, putting the Sandy Kofax also at the number 2 spot in terms of PSA 9 graded copies on this top 10 list. Now, there have been 3 graded at PSA 10. However, there have been no reported PSA 10 sales in VCP's database, so it's anyone's guess on what one of those PSA 10 Sandy Kofax rookie cards would sell for today. And of course, you probably guessed it, at the number 1 spot, the Roberto Clemente rookie card. In a PSA 5, there have been 936 graded copies with a current VCP average price of $3,569. There have been 560 graded at PSA 6. They sell for around $6,343. There have been 345 graded at PSA 7. They sell for around $16,887. There have been 123 graded at PSA 8. They sell for around $69,000. There have only been 11 graded at PSA 9. They sell for around $876,000, placing the Roberto Clemente also at the number 1 spot in terms of PSA 9 graded copies on this list. And there has been 1 graded a PSA 10. The only reported PSA 10 sale in VCP's database took place in May of 2012 through SCP auctions and sold for $432,690, also placing the Roberto Clemente at the #1 spot in terms of PSA 10 graded copies, although you have to think that if that one PSA 10 came up for sale again, it would most likely top the average price of a current PSA 9 graded copy, maybe even looking at 7 figures. There you go, the top 10 most valuable cards from the 1955 Topps set. Would love to know in the comments what you think about the 1955 Topps set and the cards that made the top 10 list. And if you've missed any of the videos in this series, here are 2 that you can check out. With that, that's all I have for you. So until next time, thanks for watching.